everybody, welcome to the Comic and Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to give you my comic book of the week. Now, I know that I said I was going to do this. I'm going to be doing this format a bit differently sooner or later. Soon, this is just me put it out there just so you guys can see how it might be going. When I do this, I'm going to make it more of a podcast-like mode. It's going to be more audio. It's not going to be any video. It's going to be audio and pictures. That's the vibe thing I'm going to do when I, do get into this more often, because what I'm gonna do is whenever there's a new comic book coming out for something, I'm gonna and I get the vibe of what they're going for. I'm either going to I'm gonna pick up a book, just a book that I think is like one of the best books that represents those characters or whatnot, or a book that seems like it's gonna be very important. For instance, if I had known about WandaVision, if I had done this before WandaVision, I probably would have picked up the Vision comic book. I probably would have picked up the Vision comic book or the Scarlet Witch and Vision comic book. Those are both on Marvel Unlimited, as is the comic book that I will be talking about today, which is Truth, Red, White, and Black. Now, this is a comic book that is very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot. Let's just put it that way. It's a lot. But anyways, this comic book came out in 2003. Sorry. Whew, man, my chest is just killing me. Writer, Robert Morales. And, written by Robert Morales and, drawn by Kyle Baker. This comic book is the true story behind the Super Soldier Serum. Now, why I'm talking about this comic is because rumor has it that a certain character will be showing up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I personally, and usually I'm not, I just made a whole video about rumors. I actually believe this is going to happen. Just everything about the show so far, everything I've heard about the show feels like it's leading to this. The director, the guy who actually, the writer on this is a very, spoke well, just out there, speaker about black people and equality, and a lot of his work, if you look at a lot of his work, it involves that, and it just feels like they're gonna do it. Now, this is the true story behind the Super Soldier Serum. As it turns out, Captain America was not the first super soldier, successful super soldier. It was a man named Isaiah Bradley. Now, a lot of people, like I said, Isaiah Bradley, a lot of people think Isaiah Bradley will show up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But in this comic book, Isaiah Bradley, was the first superhuman. It turns out America had experimented on many black soldiers, and because the black soldiers to get this serum right, and before Steve Rogers got the serum, so it kind of harkens back to a lot of experimentations that were being done on black people long time ago, which was the true thing that happened. So, that was probably the inspiration for this story in itself. But the book itself is very hardcore. I will admit to you, I did not know this book was this hardcore when I started reading it. It's dark. It is straightforward. The book is like a Spike Lee movie. I'm telling you, the book reads like a Spike Lee movie. If you've ever read, seen a Spike Lee movie, Spike Lee's pretty direct, He's real direct. He's real in your face, sometimes he lacks the subtlety. And it's just like, and that's kind of how this book is. This book is just, it's pretty direct with its racism. Like, its depiction of racism. It's not sugarcoating it. It ain't that. It is not beating around the bush. It's not, it's just like, yep, this is what was going on. I mean, hell, the first page of the book, you follow this character who isn't Isaiah Bradley, which is ironic. That was like the first page of the book. Marquise Clayfield. I just keep looking down because I sometimes forget these. I'm bad with names, great with faces, but I sometimes forget these names. And Marquise Clayfield's like this, he comes from this well-off family because, his father is like this really respected man. And there's this fair that they have that apparently they have like one for African Americans. They have one for African Americans, and the African Americans go out. It's just for them. And there's like this whole fucking stage where like there's supposed to be dancing girls, and the dancing girls don't want to come out. And Clayfield's just like, well, we paid I paid my money to be here. Like, there's supposed to be dancing girls. Why aren't there any dancing girls? And the fucking dude running the whole dancing girl show, is just like, oh, they don't want to be looked at. He's like, he's like, you might want to ease up, dude. And he's like, why? We paid for this. He's like, the girls don't want to be looked at by animals like you. Needless to say, fight. Like that's the front of the goddamn thing. That's the first freaking thing you see. So yeah, that was rough. That's crazy. But then you get into the nitty gritty of the book, and because the first issue, because it's a 7-issue series, it's not too long. 7-issue series, about 20 pages. 7-issue series, not that long. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it, once you because the first issue is really just introducing all the characters who are on the board, really introducing Sergeant Colonel Walker Pierce, introducing Isaiah and his wife Faith, introducing Sergeant Lucas Evans, Isaiah Superior, just introducing characters on the pod, introducing Erskine, just putting these characters on the board, introducing these characters and putting them on the board. That's basically the first issue. The second issue wastes very little time getting real. Very little time getting real. Not only did they show how the African American soldiers were being treated pretty awfully by other people involved and getting the shit jobs and having to do just awful just having to do all the shit things. If there was a shit thing to be done, that they had to do it, and it just really sucked. But then out of nowhere, Erskine, I think it was Erskine anyways, I know it was a couple it was either Erskine or some people with Erskine show up, and they're asking about, can you supply us with some test subjects? Yeah, I think it was Erskine. I'll keep looking back at it because I want to make sure it was Erskine. He's asking, can you supply us with some test subjects? And needless to say, the soldier, the colonel, the guy who was running that, he's like, no. We need these soldiers. I don't care what they are. And he's like, can you supply us with the black soldiers? You don't need them. Their blood is inferior to him. This is, you don't need them. Their blood's inferior. It'll be test subjects. And, once we test it out on these guys, one day they'll be strong enough, and one day they'll be strong enough, and we can make your soldiers strong off the back of these soldiers. Needless to say, the colonel went for that because he's kind of, because they're really racist. And like I said, a lot of people back in those days, there was a whole thing for a long time, long time ago, about how black people, how somehow white people's bloods were superior, how white people's blood was superior somehow. Not a real scientist. Now, it was horseshit, but they believed that stuff, and there were people at this time period, which is about 1940 something. It's just in the midst of World War II. It's 1942. Who probably believe some shit like that. There's still probably people who greatly believe some shit like that. But the funny part about it is, well, not the funny part, those scientists who are pitching this to this colonel to get him to give up all of his African-American troops, they didn't even believe that crap. They knew it was horseshit. They even said it. Later on, they were like, no, yeah, the blood's all the same. It's all the same. We just played him so we could get test subjects. And it gets darker and darker and darker really, really quick. They round up all of these African American soldiers. The soldiers don't even know why they're there. They're just like, okay, we're all. There's this huge, thousands of African American soldiers just gathering up in this one area. They don't know why they're here. The colonel's, he's like, okay, well, we got them all here, so kind of turns out that whatever Erskine was doing was illegal because he kills the colonel, so that there's no evidence of him. He asks as many of those soldiers to get in the back of these 4 huge, trucks, and a bunch of the soldiers, including Isaiah Bradley's whole unit, get in the back of those trucks, ride off. They ride off, and leaving thousands of the black soldiers still behind, and they're just like, okay, guess we're the unlucky ones. We're going to this area. And while they're riding off, you just hear gunfire. Presumably that they just murdered all the rest of the black soldiers who were left. It's just wow. Like I said, it just gets dark, man. It gets dark real freaking quick. And then they tell all the soldiers, not only the soldiers who got killed, but all the soldiers who were in the back of those vans, they told the families of those soldiers that what's the word I'm looking for? That their lovers or sons or significant others have died. They just say they're dead. So that so no one's looking for them. They're dead. And all the different family members take it differently. Because they go to Isaiah Bradley's family, they go to the sergeant's best friend, they go to Canfield's father and his mother. And they all accept it differently. What's his face's friend just drank himself into a stupor, and the darker one was what fucking Cadefield and his father did. His father took a gun and killed his wife and himself. Like, whoa. Like I said, this comic is really dark really fast. And when you even get to the experimentations, the way that formula works is just grotesque. I mean, some people exploded. Some people exploded, and you would later find out that that was the lucky people. Some people just withered away and just their hearts exploded and shit, and their bodies were just. But the amount of people they experimented on was just absurd. But the only survivors of the experimentations were, conveniently, but you know, it is what it is, Isaiah Bradley and his unit. Now, Isaiah Bradley, it worked perfectly on. Well, mostly perfectly. Worked mostly perfectly. He's like huge and jacked, and you know, he looks like a perfect specimen of a man. But the other people, it worked good on them too. A couple of them, it kind of made them look kind of deformed. One guy died, like, so the formula, because the formula affected each man differently. One guy died, so the formula didn't quite, you know, it's like it's just something was wrong where he died from the formula. For some reason, he died. They couldn't really make up their mind why. They really didn't know why. One guy died from it. Canfield, when some crazy shit happened. First of all, they became an elite striking unit who were being deployed to different places during the war to do a lot of dirty grunt work. At the same time they were doing that, Captain America had just got the perfect version of the serum, and he was being lauded as this glorious, you know, soldier of America. And like, because I remember one of the characters, Bradley, in fact, was like reading comic books. He was like, it's strange this Captain America guy had the same origin as us, basically, and yet he's not treated the same as us. Like, that is just, you know, don't get it. And, but at that point, one of the fucking racist ass dudes who were in charge of them fucking said the wrong thing to Cadefield. He mentioned his parents killing themselves. Needless to say, he went to a homicidal rage, not only went to a homicidal rage, it damn near killed Bradley and the colonel, and he got killed in the process. So, like, needless to say, it went crazy. Next thing you know, Bradley's the only surviving super soldier left. They sent him on a suicide mission. He gets captured by Hitler. The book is great. I don't want to go beat by beat, but I'll spoil this. Partially way through, you find out that Captain America in today is actually investigating what happened in this time period and finds out about Isaiah Bradley. It's a beautiful thing. You discover that apparently in that world, Germany was working with Germany. The Super Soldier program was actually created from Germany and America working together pre-World War II. So that's very interesting. Like I say, this book is, I think this book is great. I think this book is interesting. I wanted to put it down, but I couldn't because I was so intrigued. I was so into it. I was so fascinated with what's going to happen next. It was great, dude. I had a great time reading this book. The Truth, Red, White, and Black. Now, it's not for the faint of heart. This book has some stuff that is going to be intense. It has some conversation that's going to be intense. But I think they're going to have this in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think they're going to touch this subject in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At least a tad bit. But I do believe they will touch it. I do believe that. So thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Please read Captain America. Well, it's not Captain America. The Truth, Red, White, and Black. It can be found on Marvel Unlimited, which is where I read most of my comic books on Marvel Unlimited. It is a 7-issue series. It can go fly right by. You might enjoy yourself, and I would watch it soon because who knows? Isaiah Bradley might show up in the next episode on Friday. So thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.